Stride Audio Show.
Presented by Speak English with Us.
Have you ever had your brain go blank right when you need to speak, and then your face gets hot because the waiter is still staring at you?
Oh, absolutely. I've stood there with a menu in my hand, smiling like a lost tourist, while my brain just froze.
This is a B1 level episode, perfect for intermediate learners. Beginners, you're welcome too. And if you've ever wanted to speak but felt your throat lock up, this one is for you.
We're talking about that exact moment when you know the English, but it won't come out, which is so annoying.
And there is one thing we noticed. The problem isn't always vocabulary. Sometimes it's the pressure of speaking in real time.
Right, and once your brain starts panicking, even simple things like run through a sentence in your head can turn into a mess.
Quick question. When you're stuck, do you usually stay silent or do you say it out loud anyway?
Pick one: A, stay quiet and suffer, or B, say it out loud and risk sounding a little awkward. I know which one my old self would choose.
Stay until the end for our Word Tour 5 expressions that'll help you catch on faster, figure out what's happening, and stop overthinking every little line.
And yes, I'm guessing you're listening while walking, maybe commuting, or pretending to work while actually panicking over tomorrow's conversation.
Exactly. And later, we'll give you one tiny trick that makes speaking feel less scary, even if your mind goes blank for a second.
Not magic, sadly, but it is the kind of thing that can save you from that weird silence where you're just staring at the cup, hoping the sentence arrives on its own.
You're not broken. You're just carrying too much in your head at once.
And that's fixable. So let's get into the story before this fear gets another chance to win.
So picture this. I am at a tiny noodle place, the kind with sticky tables and bright lights, and the server asks me a simple question. My whole face goes warm, my hands start sweating, and I just stare at the menu like it's a legal document.
Oh no, that exact stare is brutal. I've done the same thing. And the worst part is when you can feel your body acting nervous before your mouth even opens.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, I knew the word. I had heard it before, seen it before, even tried to run through it in my head on the way there. But in that second, nothing came out.
That's the trap, right? You're not confused about life. You're just under pressure, and the pressure makes simple language feel huge.
The server asked for here or to go, and my brain decided to leave the building. I heard the question, but I couldn't figure out how to answer fast enough, so I just smiled like that would help.
The classic emergency smile. It says, "I'm friendly," while your brain says, "Please, somebody rescue me."
And here's the painful part. After I walked out, I kept replaying it. I kept thinking, why didn't I just say it out loud? Why did I freeze over a tiny question?
Because the moment felt bigger than it was. In your head, it's not just a sentence. It's your whole image, your whole dignity, your whole day.
Right. And that's where people get stuck. They wait until they feel ready, but speaking in real time doesn't wait for ready. It just happens, and then your brain has to catch on later.
That's actually the sneaky part. You often catch on after the moment is over, which is why the lesson arrives late and the embarrassment arrives first.
Oh, and I tried to act casual. I nodded, looked at the drinks, looked back at the server, and my brain still felt like it was full of fog.
Been there. I once pointed at a random item because I was trying to figure out the word, and it turned out I'd ordered something I didn't even want.
That's so painful. And honestly, it's not just about the word itself. It's about the tiny shock of having to respond in real time while people are watching your face.
Exactly. It's like your brain opens 20 tabs at once, sound meaning, grammar, fear, eye contact, and then everything slows down.
And after that, you start making the whole thing bigger in your head. One awkward moment becomes proof that you're bad at English, which is such a harsh story to tell yourself.
And that story is loud. It's not just the sentence you missed, it's the voice saying, "See? You should have practiced more."
But even when I'd practiced, I still blanked. I had a little list in my phone. I had even tried to say it out loud in the mirror. And yet the real moment still felt different.
Because the mirror doesn't stare back like a hungry server. That's the whole trick. Your brain knows the mirror is safe.
Exactly. And that's why I keep thinking about this weird gap between I know it and I can say it. Sometimes the gap is where all the fear lives.
And sometimes you can't figure out that gap by thinking harder. You need a smaller move, not a bigger panic.
I also noticed something else. The more I tried to be perfect, the less I could speak. I kept trying to choose the best sentence, and then the moment passed.
That's so real. Perfection makes the brain slow down, and slow down is exactly what speaking in real time does not need.
So there I was, standing under those bright lights, holding a menu I'd already read 3 times, feeling my face get hotter and hotter, and still trying to act normal.
The pretend normal act is so exhausting. You look calm on the outside, but inside it's chaos and tiny sirens.
And maybe that's why so many people stay quiet. They don't lack English. They just don't want that flash of panic again.
Yeah, and once that happens a few times, your brain starts expecting it. Then even easy moments feel loaded.
Which is exactly why I want to talk about the words that help you move through that moment instead of getting trapped inside it. There's a simple way to say, "Give me a second," or to make your brain catch on faster.
And there's also a phrase for this whole messy process, a real little lifesaver. We'll break it down later because it shows up right when your brain wants to quit.
By the way, did you notice how often we use a sentence in our heads and never say it out loud? That tiny gap is where the fear hides.
So next we'll open that gap up a little, and I'll show you why one small habit can make the whole thing less scary, one step at a time.
So here's the part that changed things for me. I stopped trying to build the perfect sentence in my head and started using a tiny starter line instead.
Wait, just a starter line? That sounds almost too simple, but honestly, I can see why that would help in real time.
Exactly. You don't need to solve the whole conversation before it starts. You just need something small enough to say out loud, like, "Give me a second," or "Let me think for a moment."
Right, because once you say something, your brain can catch on after that. Silence feels huge, but a small line keeps the door open.
And this is where people often get stuck. They keep trying to figure out the entire reply before they speak. That pressure makes the mind freeze again and again.
Yeah, and I used to do that at coffee shops. The barista would wait, I'd panic, and then I'd forget even the easiest words because I was trying to run through 5 versions at once.
So let's make it practical. Step 1. When you feel the blank moment coming, say a tiny bridge phrase. It can be 1 second, let me check, or just a moment.
That's so much better than standing there like a statue. Also, it buys your brain time without making the other person feel ignored.
Step 2. After the bridge phrase, say the simplest possible meaning. Not the prettiest sentence, not the most elegant one, just the meaning.
Like if you want the soup, you don't need a speech. You just say, "I'll have the soup," and the whole thing moves again.
And if you forget the exact word, don't chase it in your head forever. Describe it, point to it, or use a shorter word. That's not failure. That's communication.
I love that. Communication, not perfection. My perfectionist brain hates that sentence, but my real life totally needs it.
Here's the weird truth. The more you try to be flawless, the less you can actually speak. The moment you accept a rough line, your voice comes back faster.
That makes so much sense. It's like taking your foot off the brake instead of trying to drive with the brake half on.
And now let's do a quick role play, because this is where it starts to stick. You're at a restaurant, the server asks what you want, and you blank for a second.
Okay, I'd probably say I need 1 second. And then I'd stare at the menu and hope nobody notices my panic face.
Pause. That's exactly the moment to use a cleaner line. You don't need I need, because the fillers make you sound even more stuck.
Oof, yes. My panic face and my panic words are a terrible combo.
Try these instead. Just a second, please. Or I'm deciding right now. Both are calm, short, and very natural.
I'm deciding right now sounds weirdly powerful. Like I'm the boss of the menu instead of its victim.
Exactly. And if you want the order itself, you can say, I'll have this one, and point. Or, can I get the chicken soup? Simple, clean, done.
That's the kind of line I can actually use. No drama, no performance, just one clear sentence.
Now second role play. Let's say you didn't catch the question. Maybe the person spoke fast, the place was noisy, and your brain missed the first part.
Oh, that one hits hard. I always pretend I understood, and then I end up guessing wrong, which is somehow worse.
So instead of freezing, say, sorry, can you say that again? Or, could you repeat that more slowly? Those are not awkward, they're normal.
That is such a good point. I used to think asking again made me look bad, but really, it just makes the conversation work.
Right. Native speakers ask again all the time. The big difference is they don't treat it like a tragedy, they just keep moving.
And that's the mindset shift, isn't it? Not how do I sound perfect, but how do I keep this going?
Yes. And I want to say something important here. You are not failing because you hesitate. Hesitation is just your brain buying a second.
Exactly. It's not a character flaw, it's a moment, and moments can be trained.
Also, if you want to practice outside the real moment, don't just read words silently. Say them out loud. Your mouth needs the practice, not only your eyes.
My mouth definitely learned this the hard way. Reading in my head made me feel smart, but speaking out loud made me actually usable.
And that's why say it out loud matters so much. You catch on faster when you hear your own voice doing the work.
Right, because then the sentence doesn't feel like a school memory. It feels like something your body already knows.
Let's make the plan super small. Before your next conversation, choose 3 starter lines. 1 for buying time, 1 for asking again, 1 for choosing your item.
That's a great mini system. 3 lines is enough to reduce panic, but not so many that your brain gets crowded.
For example, just a second, please. Could you say that again? I'll have this one. That's already a real survival kit.
Survival kit is right. Not fancy, just useful. And honestly, useful beats clever every time.
If you want, you can even practice in the mirror while holding a mug or menu, so your body gets used to the scene too.
That sounds silly, but I know it works. I've practiced so many awkward lines in my kitchen that my neighbors probably think I'm in a one-person play.
Great, that's the point. The real conversation won't feel like the first time if you've already said the line a few times in a calm space.
And when the real moment comes, you'll still feel nerves, but you won't feel empty. That's a huge difference.
So don't wait for confidence first, use the line first, and confidence usually follows after.
That's the whole game, really. Small line, less panic, more speaking.
If this helped, stay with us for the word tour, because these 5 phrases will make all of this even easier to remember.
And seriously, if you only keep one thing today, keep this. Say something tiny and let your brain catch on after.
So the big idea is, don't wait to feel ready.
Right, say it out loud, keep moving, and let your brain catch on.
And when you need a reset, run through a tiny phrase first, not a full speech.
Exactly. That one little shift can save you from the whole frozen face routine.
Okay, let's do the word tour now because these 5 phrases are the whole rescue kit when your brain goes blank. First one, catch on. It means you understand something after a little time. Not instantly, not perfectly, just after a second or two.
So if I hear a fast question and I only catch on after the second word, I'm still winning. Nice, I like that, because it feels human, not robotic.
Exactly. In a real moment, you might hear the server ask something, miss the first part, and then catch on a beat later. You don't need to shame yourself for that delay. It's normal.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Sometimes I catch on only after the sentence ends, and then I'm standing there like, now I get it. Very classy.
Second phrase, run through. It means to practice or review something quickly. Before you walk into a cafe, you can run through 3 lines in your head, or out loud if you're brave.
I've done that in the elevator before. I looked calm on the outside, but inside I was running through the same sentence like it was a fire drill.
That image is perfect, and the point isn't to memorize a whole speech. You just run through the important bits, so your mouth has a path when the moment comes.
Right? Because once the pressure hits, your brain won't build the road for you. It needs the road already there.
Third phrase, figure out. This one is about understanding or solving something. Maybe you're not sure what the person said, or you're trying to figure out which menu item is the one you actually want.
That's the truth. Half of restaurant panic is just me trying to figure out whether I want noodles, soup, or whatever I can point at without causing chaos.
And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to figure out everything at once. You can figure out one tiny piece, say it, and move on.
That feels way lighter. It's like solving a puzzle one corner at a time instead of shaking the whole box at your face.
Fourth phrase, say it out loud. This one sounds simple, but it changes everything. When you say it out loud, your brain stops treating the sentence like a private fear and starts treating it like communication.
Wow, yes. I've noticed that when I only think in English, I feel clever. But when I say it out loud, I catch my own mistakes faster.
Exactly, and that feedback is gold. You hear the rhythm, you hear the pause, and suddenly the sentence feels real instead of imaginary.
So, the mouth is basically the shortcut. The mouth learns what the silent brain keeps overcomplicating.
Fifth phrase, in real time. This means something is happening right now as the moment is unfolding. That's why speaking feels scary. Because you're building the sentence in real time while someone waits?
Yeah, and that pressure is wild. In real time, you don't get a rewind button, so your brain tries to protect you by going blank.
Exactly. But if you know that's the game, you stop expecting a perfect performance. You start expecting a live conversation. Messy, normal, and still successful.
Messy, normal, and still successful is honestly my favorite standard. Way better than flawless or nothing.
Let's use them together in one tiny scene. You're at a counter, the speaker is fast, and you don't catch every word right away.
So I might say, sorry, I'm trying to catch on. Could you say that again? Then I'd run through my options for 2 seconds and figure out what I want.
Perfect. Then you can say, I'll have this one, out loud, and the whole moment keeps moving.
That actually feels doable. No giant speech, no pretending I understood everything, just a clean recovery.
And if you're nervous, remember this. You're not behind, and you're not broken. You're just learning how to move in real time.
And that's a huge difference. Catch on, run through, figure out, say it out loud in real time. Those 5 phrases make the whole thing less scary.
Exactly. Save them, use them, and the next awkward moment gets smaller.
Tiny words, big rescue. That's the whole tour.
So, if your mind goes blank next time, remember the rescue steps, pause, breathe, and use one small line. You don't need a perfect sentence. just a door back into the conversation.
Right, and if I start staring at the menu like it betrayed me, I should just say, "Give me a second." Way better than standing there like a decorative plant.
Exactly. And when you hear yourself speak even a little bit, your confidence can catch up after the moment, not before it.
That's such a relief, honestly. I always thought confidence had to show up first, but maybe it's more like a guest that arrives late.
I love that image. And hey, if you want to practice, pick one place today: your kitchen, your room, or even the bus stop, and say 3 lines out loud.
3 lines, no drama, no pressure, just enough to make your mouth stop acting like it's brand new.
Exactly. And if the real conversation feels fast, you can still catch on, run through the next line, and figure out the rest as you go.
So the goal isn't never get nervous. It's keep going even when you're nervous. That feels way kinder.
It is kinder, and it's way more realistic. Before we wrap up, I want to ask you something simple. Which phrase do you think you'll use first? Just a second, say it out loud, or could you say that again?
Ooh, that's a good one. Mine's probably just a second, because my brain likes a tiny emergency exit.
Fair. And if this episode helped even a little, send it to a friend who always goes quiet at restaurants. They'll probably feel seen.
And if that friend is you, even better. You're not behind, you're just learning to speak in real time.
So keep the phrases close, keep the pressure low, and let the conversation be imperfect.
Perfect doesn't need to enter the room, just you do.